Hello, Mama.
Hi there.
That was a fun day, right?
Right.
Now I'm going to ruin it.
Why?
Well, before we get completely done with the day, I want to talk to you about the video that I made with Uncle Rick.
Okay.
And you loved that video.
It made me cry.
It made me cry too. And I want to get your perspective. I've gotten Grandma's perspective, and I've gotten Uncle Rick's perspective, and I would love to get your perspective because you have a very different perspective. Do you want to sit down and talk for a minute? If you don't want to, you don't have to.
A little bit.
A little bit. Oh, all right, come sit down. So, Uncle Rick did a whole video about finding forgiveness.
Yes.
And through Jesus.
Yes.
Now you have a very strong faith in Jesus,
Yes, I do.
but you don't feel like you found the same forgiveness that he did.
I didn't.
You didn't. One of Grandma's earliest videos went viral, and it was when she found Grandpa's mistress, who knew who Grandma was, and took her out and befriended her, got her drunk, and she fell down in the plate. And it was a funny video, and it had 20 million views. It was like a very popular video. But behind that funny story, something really horrible
A tragedy.
was happening.
Yes.
Tell me what happened that night.
Well, we were asleep, and came in and said, "Get up. Wake up. Get up." And my sister and I were sleeping in my parents' bed, and he said, "Get up." I said, "Why?" He said, "I want you to help me find your mother." I said, Where is she?" And he said, "I don't know. That's why I want to find her. Get up." So I didn't want to find her. So we went outside, and we had a big yard, and I heard my name called, and I looked, and I said, "Mama." She said, "Get your sister and go across the street." She was laying in the irrigation ditch with a beautiful black strapless gown on. And she crawled under the tunnel that went under the road, and we met her on the other side. My oldest brother went to get my younger brother out of the basement because you couldn't wake him up. He wouldn't wake up. He had to be carried out. So my big brother went and got him, carried him out. And we laid on her dress, a big circular gown.
Why was she wearing a big gown?
They had gone out.
Okay.
And we were laid on her dress.
Okay.
And then we saw him walking down the street with the moonlight clearly, with the rifle over his shoulder, with a woman on his arm, calling out her name. Calling out her name. And he said, "Doris, where are you? I'm going to kill you and all your children." So my brother crawled on his stomach, my oldest brother crawled on his stomach up to the landowner's house and said, "We need to phone the police." And so they did, they came. But it took six police officers to get him arrested. And he was arrested.
Before that night, was he a good husband and a father? Did it just change that one night, or how was he before that?
No, he was a monster. He was a monster. For instance, he threw my sister and I out of our room so he could put his girlfriend in there.
Did he ever hit you?
No, he didn't hit me.
Did he ever molest you?
No.
Wow. Did he ever hit the boys?
He beat them within an inch of their life. My older brother was beat like a full-grown man. I watched him in the front yard, beat him on the head and on the back, beat him and beat him and beat him. And he wouldn't stop beating him, and I couldn't stop it. And I remember one night he had my mother bent over backwards with steaming hot water pouring in her face, choking her. And I jumped up on his, got a chair, jumped up on his back and tried to choke him. And I beat on him, and I beat on him, and I beat on him. And my brothers and sisters said, we had a plan. When he got old, and he couldn't hurt us, that we were going to get him. We're going to beat on him, and we'll get him back. He beat my mother unmercifully.
Do you want to stop? You want to stop, Mom? We don't have to do this.
Well, one of the reasons that I will not, cannot forgive is because we stayed at my Aunt Doris's house or my grandma's house for longest days at a time because my mom was in the hospital. And when she came out, I didn't know who she was. I didn't know her because she didn't have bruises on her face or black eyes.
Wait, because she didn't?
It's because she didn't.
So she was always so bruised?
She was always black and blue.
And that when she wasn't black and blue,
I didn't know who she was.
God, Mom.
I will not forgive him.
I don't know if I could forgive anybody that hurt you like that either. I wouldn't even expect you or ask you to ever forgive somebody like that. But I heard from Grandma that many years later, he never stopped drinking, you know, as you kids were teenagers, and she had left him and she was already divorced.
Yeah.
And he still would come and find her and beat her, even after you guys were gone.
Right.
But Grandma told me that you stopped all that.
I did. I did.
How did you stop that? I mean, you're 5 foot and weighed 95 pounds.
Well,
he was 6'4" and weighed about 253.
Closer to 6'5". But he had come over one night, and my mom and his sister playing a board game. And he walked in the front door, and he took the table, he flipped it upside down. Well, she hadn't seen his brother in action before, so she was just...
Wait, so his sister never saw Grandpa do any of this?
No, nobody saw. It was just the family. I used to call the relatives over, have them come over so he wouldn't beat my mom.
So he comes over.
Yeah, and he flipped over the table.
And his sister sees this for the first time.
Yeah.
But wait, how did they explain that her face was black and blue for all these years?
Who?
What did she, like you said that they didn't know.
They knew.
Oh, they knew.
But they didn't see it.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
So I walked in and I pushed him back. My nose came to his belly button. My nose would fit right in his belly button. And I told him, you'll never hit her again as long as I'm alive. I pushed him, and I pushed him hard. And I said, it's going to be me and you. You'll start beating on me, and I'm going to fight you back. And he looked down at me, shook his head, turned around, walked out the door, and he never hit her again.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So that would be an interesting end to this story. But the story obviously doesn't end there.
No.
This is what I talked to Uncle Rick about he got older,
Yes.
and Uncle Rick started loving him and forgiving him.
Yes, they all did.
But
Every one of them.
you did too.
No, I didn't.
I don't know about that, Mom. I remember when we got older that we would celebrate Easter and go to his house, and everybody would gather, and it didn't seem like anybody had any hard feelings towards him. Like, I would have never known. At what point, from the beatings and the torture and everything that he did, and that you hated him so much, did you put that aside to where we were going over there for Easter and you were having dinner with him? And like, at what changed that?
I grew up with him my whole life. He stopped living in the bars, taking his family to the bars, me arm wrestling for money in the bars.
Was his problem alcohol?
Of course,
So when the alcohol wasn't involved,
that he was a gentle giant. Like on Sundays, we'd go roller skating, out to dinner. We were a happy family on Sundays.
so I would like to flash forward to many years later. I was already an adult at this point. I was living here, literally right here. Grandpa had an accident, and what happened?
Well, we all had dinner together, and we offered to drive him home. And he said he could drive, so I said, you be sure to call as soon as you get home. Well, he didn't call. I said, well, I'm really nervous. I'm really worried. So it was like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And your brother and I went over there and we found him. And he dropped his keys and didn't have the porch light on. So he couldn't find his keys. So he just rolled, it was so cold, he rolled himself up in that big brown, thick rug.
Was he drunk?
No.
Okay.
And he shivered so bad he took all the hair and skin off the back of his head. But when I saw him, he was gray, his eyes were fogged over, and I thought he was dead. And I doubled up both my fists, I hit him on the chest, and I said, Daddy, don't die. And he jumped. And he said, I'm cold. So your brother picked him up, carried him in the house because I had a key. And we went inside. He laid him down and the fire department came. Well, of course, we called 911 as soon as we saw him. And
He
had hypothermia.
really never recovered from this. He needed
Assistance.
living after that. So you did something that, after hearing the heartbreak and how much you despised your father and how much anger you had towards your father, it was very interesting because you said, Daddy, don't die.
Yes.
Even after he had said that you weren't his daughter.
Yes.
So that's interesting to me. What's even more interesting is that you moved in with him.
Yes.
And how long did you stay?
3.5 years.
So instead of hiring a nurse or putting him in a nursing home, you decided that you were going to move in and take care of him yourself.
Yes.
And he was basically invalid. I mean, you had to use like some kind of machinery to get him out of bed, right?
Yes. A hoist. It's called a hoist. Then I got him stuck in the air one night. I had to call the company and say, my father is stuck in the air so I could change his bed. And he said, you better get me out of here. And
So again, I don't want to cut you off. Again, I'm going to go back to 6 foot. How tall was he?
6'4.5".
And probably close to 300 pounds.
Oh, probably 350.
Okay, and here you are, a little tiny 5'2". You weigh Well, we weigh about 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Taking care of this man all by yourself.
Yes, and I picked him up 3 times when he fell. 13 times.
And there was no money there. You know, it wasn't about money. He had a very modest life. He had a very modest little house, very modest savings. It wasn't like you were like, I'm in it for the money. I'm going to go like when
We're going to be billionaires.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
No.
he didn't live like that.
No, he saved and he had a coin collection. And it was...
But nothing worth giving up 3 years of your life to take care of a man that abused your mother and your family. I understand alcoholism. I understand that when you have a problem with alcohol, that you are not the person.
He drank the devil out of the bottle.
He drank the what?
The devil out of the bottle.
And when he was sober, he was a nice person.
You couldn't ask for a better man.
That's a dual existence that's hard to
get your head around.
Yeah, to get your head around, you know,
Yeah.
to have somebody cause that much heartache and pain and be a very kind and loving, good person when they're not.
Yes.
And a lot of people deal with that. So you're not going to want to hear this, but you did forgive him.
If you say so. According to you, not according to me.
I don't think that you realize, I think you came to terms that he had a problem with alcohol, and that you said it yourself, he drank the devil out of the bottle. But you called him daddy and you rushed over to save him, and then you took 3 years of your life to take care of him.
3.5.
You don't do that for somebody that you don't love.
He didn't drink any longer.
So I think you forgave him.
I learned to love him, but I even told him, I'll never forgive you. As long as I live, I'll never forgive you for what you did to my life and my mother's and my brothers and sisters.
Why did you take care of him? I'm so confused. I mean, you have so much pent up anger and rightfully so. I'm not even saying that you don't have a right to that. I'm angry sitting here listening to that. But I don't know that I would have been able to uproot my life and move in with somebody that abused my family like that without some level of forgiveness. What motivated you to take care of him better than anybody else?
He was helpless. He was a strong, strong, strong man. And he went down to his knees, and I was there to pick him up. That's all I can say. I may have loved him in the end, but I didn't ever forgive him. And I'm not going to forgive him.
You don't have to ever forgive anybody you don't want to forgive. I respect Uncle Rick for being able to forgive him in his way.
I do too. It made me cry. I wished I had some of that forgiveness.
I respect you just as much because you did more than anybody else.
Yes, I did.
In the end,
With no help.
with no help.
My brother, I begged him for 2 hours reprieve so I could go to a movie or something, but 24/7 for 3.5 years. He needed me.
That says a lot about you, Mom.
Oh, it does not.
It does. It says a lot about you. It says what a generous, loving heart you have, and what a very good woman you are, and you do have a strong faith in Jesus, and you have a very strong belief in Christ, and I feel like he has filled you up with a lot of love. You have a lot of love, and to have that much love to overlook.
That's what's gotten me through. A little bit of love.
A lot of love.
Well, a little bit of love, enough so I wouldn't kill him.
Well, good.
I put him in the Veterans Hospital for 2 weeks. I thought, I'll come and see you. I need to do something for me for a minute, you know, because there was a lot of messes to clean up, a lot of,
we
won't go there, but
it's not easy caring for an adult invalid patient.
right.
It's,
Anyway, he was there 17 hours and passed. He called for me. He called for me. I asked my
the woman,
brother Rick if he'd go up to stay with him until I got there, and he did, and he kept asking for me. And
the daughter that he felt he needed to take aside and say that you weren't his.
Yes, yes. He called out my name 3 times. That's what the nurses and the doctors said, that he called for me to save him, because I saved him so many times. Okay, that's all I wanted to say.
Is that all you wanted to? Woo, you need an ice cream cone after this.
Okay, take me and get me an ice cream.
Let's just get back in the car and leave.
Okay.
I need a drink. I don't even drink.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Mom. I feel awful that I've made you live that again. I feel
That's nothing.
awful.
All the things that were left out, that's nothing.
But I am grateful that you know, this video series is a legacy for years, and for me, and then my children and my grandchildren, and I want people to know who we were. You know, people see the fancy clothing or the sparkly jewelry or the, you know, the makeup, and there's always this preconceived notion, you know, if you just looked at a picture, like how stuck up snobby. I mean, we've heard that comment so many times
yes.
too. Like, if I just saw a picture of you, I would think that you were just assholes, you know, just pretentious. And I don't want that. I don't want people to think that there's nothing behind the sparkle.
Oh, gee.
Because you sparkle from the inside, and Grandma sparkles from the inside. And if you were wearing, you know, rags and bags, you would sparkle just as bright.
Oh, thank you.
And so would Grandma. And I want to share that with everybody, but I definitely want to leave a legacy. And you've really contributed so much by allowing yourself to be in some of these videos.
I know.
And then to just open yourself up so much. You've just opened yourself up so much. And there are a lot of people that are going through things like this, Mom. A lot of people have drug addicts and alcoholics in their family, and it rips them apart, and they don't think they're ever going to come out on the other side. They think, my life is over, it's doomed, it's done. This is darkness that I will never escape from.
I feel like I healed myself with laughter. I laughed my way through it.
That's me too.
Kinda.
We sure laugh a lot now.
I love to laugh. I love to laugh. That's what I like.
Well, I know that we're all shaped by life. Life can turn us into some really dark, hard people, you know. But you're not.
It's like.
But you're not, Mom.
It's like I was living in the shadow.
But if you were living in a shadow, then you were the light that lit up the shadow.
Oh,
you were the
thank
light
you.
that lit up the darkness. Even that smile, Mom. Even that
Thank
smile.
you.
When you laugh or you smile, the way your eyes twinkle, the way your mouth, you throw your head back, and Grandma, the way you both, to be able to both of you laugh and smile and spread so much love and happiness
Yeah.
after going through what you've gone through, you're just light. You can't extinguish. You can't extinguish it. It's just light and bright.
I never thought of that.
I think you just have this strong spirit. He didn't break you. You may feel broken, but he didn't break you. You're not broken. No, you're a survivor. You're
Maybe
strong.
I'm just bent.
But we all have to bend. If you don't bend,
You break.
you break.
Yeah.
And I bend all the time. And I think I'm a pretty happy person.
Oh, you're very happy. And that makes me happy.
I think you raised someone that loves life. I love life, and I love people, and I don't like mean, angry,
You didn't have it easy.
rude. It wasn't easy, but I had love. I had love. You're like, okay. I love you.
I love you so much.
I love you so much. Thank you again. Let's get out of here. Let's go do something fun now.
Eat.
As usual. Bye.
Bye.